distinguished hearing. I'd also be remiss if I did not thank my colleague and ex officio board member Sheldon Whitehouse for his comments. Today's hearing, monumental waste on how Donald Trump is spending taxpayers' dollars on national landmarks like the Kennedy Center. My testimony will focus on fighting back against Trump's unlawful renaming of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, the only living memorial for President Kennedy. It's about whether powerful people can rewrite history, seize public institutions, and silence dissent. The unlawful renaming of the Kennedy Center is another example of Trump's disregard of the rule of law and our Constitution. I became the face of this fight because someone had to stand up. At the end of the day, it wasn't about fighting for myself. I was fighting for the rule of law and for an institution that belongs to the American people. Trump began his takeover of the Kennedy Center by handpicking his sycophants to the Board of Trustees to rubber stamp his plans. By law, certain members of Congress serve as ex officio members of the Kennedy Center's Board of Trustees, like myself. Trump then illegally stripped ex officio members of their rights to vote in board meetings. During the December 18th, 2025 virtual meeting, I was muted, silencing me when the vote occurred to change the name. On December 22nd, 2025, I filed the lawsuit, Beatty v. Trump, in federal court to remind the president that there are consequences for unlawful actions, and that one cannot simply rewrite federal law. From December 2025 to March 2026, a series of filings and hearings occurred. I appeared before the Federal District Court Judge Christopher R. Cooper on March 12th. Might add, that was my birthday, 2026. On May 30th, 2026, Judge Cooper ruled that the Kennedy Center trustees acted unlawfully when they renamed the institution to include Donald Trump's name. Further, the court reaffirmed separation of powers by stating that only Congress has the authority to rename the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Judge Cooper also ordered every reference to Trump's name to be removed, including the website, branding, transportation, and signage on the front of the building. On June 12, 2026, the day the sign was ordered to come down, I stood with hundreds of people at the Kennedy Center for approximately 11 hours as scaffolding and a tarp were erected. At 4 a.m. on Saturday, June 13th, I witnessed the name had been removed. In addition to the name being removed, Judge Cooper also blocked Trump's planned two-year shutdown of the Kennedy Center. Justice prevailed. No longer silenced, no longer prevented from attending and voting in board meetings, the name had come down. The Kennedy Center is the home to the National Symphony Orchestra and thousands of artists, performers, students, advisors, and families like many here today, especially Mr. Ben Folds. Once it became apparent that the Trump and the board's unlawful actions led artists to canceling and refusing to play the Kennedy Center, it appeared that Trump decided that his own personal ego outweighed the thousands of artists and the workers who rely on the Kennedy Center for their livelihood. The court's most recent ruling made clear that the Trump administration must explain two things by July 31st. Why the Kennedy Center remains covered by a massive tarp, and what is he covering up, and what concrete plans they have to keep the building open. I'd like to convey my appreciation to the House Oversight Committee and the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations for holding this hearing today. In these difficult times, American people deserve better than a president who is more focused on slapping his name on buildings than helping people lower the cost of groceries. Yes, I would have preferred to be here talking about affordability and helping working families rather than discussing Trump's vanity projects and petty acts of defiance. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Beatty, and thank you for your great work. I want to just say, ordinarily, we would have a presiding officer sternly gaveling down the applause. But actually, there's something very refreshing and inspiring about your approval, and thank you, Congresswoman Beatty, for that excellent testimony.